Hey you guys, welcome. Coming to you from my office, and I have been up since 5 this morning working on another project, doing some skills work with some mountain bikers, and I haven't had a chance to change my kit out yet. So coming to you live, keeping it real. My name's Dana. I'm a health and wellness mentor, and I'm here to talk to you about ditching the diet and myth-busting plateaus. So love to just share things that I have learned in my journey with nutrition and as a nurse, and things that I've picked up along the way that, nutrition and health actually is really simple. And the health industry and healthcare complicate it, because when we're confused, we're disempowered to make decisions for ourselves that are aligned with our values and our goals. But when we're empowered, we can choose to make the choices that are aligned with where we're headed. And when you are aligned, you are far more successful in your goals and following your dreams. And sometimes dreams are small and sometimes they're huge, and goals can be small and huge. And so sometimes losing weight or feeling better in your body, having more energy, decreasing inflammation, all the things that having healthy nutrition can do for us, help you get to your dreams, because when you're feeling better, you make better choices typically. So here to myth bust plateaus with you. The first thing that I would say about a plateau, if you are in the process, in the phase of releasing or losing weight, the first thing that I remind my clients when they hit a plateau is actually it's called a fat flush in cultural terms. This is not a specific term. This is not a scientific term. This is just what diet culture calls this. But what happens is when you gain weight, you multiply your fat cells. And when you release weight, you do not lose the fat cells themselves. You actually just lose the fat out of the cell, which is one of the reasons that it's best to keep weight off for a lifetime versus be on the roller coaster of gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight, because as we gain weight, we gain fat cells, and those fat cells will always tell you they're hungry for more. So the fewer fat cells you are, the lower risk you are for having hunger cravings and urges. That's a whole different topic, but that does fit in there. So when you're releasing weight, you release the fat out of the cell. So the cell's full of fat, then it collapses, then you lose weight, you lean down. One of the in-between stages of that will happen is you lose the fat, but then the cell will fill back up with water as your body's physiology is adjusting. It's wondering, are you going to eat enough and replace the stores so it can release the water and fill it back up with fat? Or are you going to leave it empty, and then at another point in time, the body will release another wave of weight, and that's what's called a fat flush, because essentially you flush the fat and now you're flushing the water out, and then you'll continue on your merry way. So part of the fat flush and the physiology, when we're losing weight, if you think about it over time, you probably didn't gain your weight overnight, and it probably happened over a period of time. Well, as you're losing weight over a period of time, your body has to have the opportunity to adjust. So when you gained your weight, you probably gained more muscle, you gained more tissues to support all the extra weight. Well, as you're releasing the fat that you're no longer going to be carrying, your body has to redistribute all of its fluids, and it has to calculate how much muscle it needs to hold you up and move you, and it has to realign itself. And our bodies are dynamic. We think of the world in algorithmic terms, and there are lots of laws in nature that do apply, but our bodies are dynamic, and process has to be able to happen. So the physiology, your body has to have time to make the adjustments to reallocate its resources internally, fluids, muscles, hormones, all of that kind of stuff. And so you might see a stall, a plateau, but it's not really a plateau. It's your body adjusting to the change of releasing weight. And then also in here, people get worried about losing weight, and they say, oh, I want to make sure I only lose fat, not muscle. And I'm here to tell you that if you're carrying around extra weight, you might actually need to release some muscle, because all that muscle was doing was allowing you to carry your extra weight around. I mean, 15 pounds is a lot, 10 pounds is a lot. Think about carrying around an extra gallon of milk. A gallon of milk is 8 pounds. You release that, you may not need as much muscle to hold yourself up and move. So that takes me to metabolism changes. Another thing that can happen when you hit a stall or a plateau is when you started out with your new nutrition program that's allowing you to lose weight, and then you might need more food because you're supporting more weight, but as you release the weight, your metabolism is going to change. You may not need as much food because you're not supporting as much weight, and it's not taking as much energy for you to move about. So sometimes you aren't going to need as much when you started as when you're ending, and a plateau can happen when we don't realize that. Like, that's a mindset we have to shift, that you may not need as much, but if you're eating as much as when you started, you will have your body level out at releasing until you drop your numbers again to meet your goals or your needs. And the last thing that I would cover today that I talk about with clients all the time is focus. So the power of the mind and the power of what we tell our bodies to do when we tell it to do it is not talked about enough. So what you focus on is what you will get. And if you are weighing on the scale every day and you are creating anxiety and stress in the body because you gained a pound or you only lost 0.2 pounds, then you are going to stall in your progress because you just told your body to go into fight or flight over not losing a pound. And all of those hormonal changes can stop everything. So just by the way, our bodies can fluctuate between 3 and 4 pounds a day, and that's normal. It doesn't necessarily mean fat retention. There are many reasons that we can hold on to that extra water weight typically. So a pound on the scale, if that's what we're talking about, I'll be talking about focus with you, because what you focus on is what you're going to get. But if you focus on the wins, if you focus on what you're learning, if you focus on what you're discovering, if you focus on what went well today, that will release the tension out of your body. It will allow your hormones to normalize, and then the rest of your body can continue its function as it needs to go. So truly, honestly, most of the time when I see this happen, it is not because of the other 3 things. It's because the person is focusing on something that's stressing them out. And when stress, there's a difference between good stress and distress, but when you're distressed, the game's off. Like, all bets are off. Your body is gonna just stop and hold its pattern and not release any more weight. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about with plateaus. There's probably other things that are also relative to this, but in my experience, those are the 4 areas that I talk about the most with my clients. And I have clients that are very successful when they follow the basic principles of nutrition and they walk with me through the coaching process. So I'm developing a program and one-on-one coaching, and I'm going to be launching that here in the next few weeks. I'm looking forward to working with anybody who would love to ditch the diet and make being healthy for life something that's attainable for you. I believe you're born for more. I believe that you have great value and you have purpose, and there's so much more life out there. There's just a few things that you need to get in line and be aligned with so that you can go after what you want. I hope you have a wonderful day. It's Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll be back here live with you next week to do some more education, myth busting, nutrition principles, a little bit of mindset work. If you ever have any questions anytime, or you have questions about how nutrition relates to the body, how mindset can play in, please reach out. I love questions, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll catch you on the flip side.